All right, what's up, guys? And today we are taking questions from other dads just like us. And it's going to be a pretty funny episode today. We're going to talk about the dad tax. And we all know what happens when we have that first cup of coffee. So dads are asking, how long do you have once you light the fuse? We'll get into that. And then the need for a man cave, why you have it and what it teaches your kids. Are you ready?
Let's do it, man.
Let's do it! All right, guys, and welcome back to the Fit Fat Dad podcast, where we're two dads who are kind of fit, kind of fat, talking all things dad.
Why'd you got to point to me about the fat, man?
Kind of fat. Hey, you like our new decoration here, the dad shoe?
I do.
That is the dad shoe.
The crazy thing is the design hasn't changed.
That's why it is the dad shoe.
That's right.
And then, as you can tell, like things that I would like, Dad, why are you wearing khaki cargo shorts?
So I have a question for you before we dive in.
Let's go for it.
Will you ever wear those?
Oh, yeah.
Well, you will?
Well, that's going to be Halloween outfit. I'm going as a dad.
Okay.
And then, I think I'm going to bring
Halloween is coming up. So you're going as a dad? Like, that's what you're going as?
Well, I think I can own that one.
Yeah, you're pretty good at that.
Yeah, we can.
Okay.
I think, and as we always go trick-or-treating together, you should be a dad.
So I'm actually
You've already committed?
Yeah, I'm committed. Ricky decided that I was going to, she was like, would you do this? And I'm like, yeah. So I'm going for,
can't even get his name right.
This is tired, right? This is no sleep. What's the guy from The Hangover that wears the baby? What is his name? See, exactly.
Alan in the movie.
Yeah. So I'm going as Alan. I'm going as Alan. Like, we got
Did you get the shirt? The Howling the Wolves?
Yeah, we got the shirt. Ricky found the shirt, and I've got some white linen pants. And, Sloan's about 4 months old, and he's big and chunky, so we're going to get him some little sunglasses to wear.
Wolf pack.
Yeah, it's a wolf pack. That's right.
Well, maybe we should all do that as a group costume and go as the wolf pack.
Pack.
And then I'll just break these out for grass cutting. These are actually like what I would consider date night right now.
Wow.
Yeah, they're like really.
No, that's pristine.
That's pristine.
That's the best they're ever going to look.
Fresh out of the box.
Yeah, they will never look like that again.
We got to go with the ankle high socks.
That's right.
Pulling that up with the cargo shorts.
Ankle high black with the white.
Yes. Okay, well, let's get right into it. So we've got some questions from some other dads. So Mike from Michigan asked about the dad tax. And the question he asked is, how do you determine your dad tax rate? Is it a flat rate or progressive? And do you offer any tax breaks or incentives? So, how do you determine your dad tax? Well, first off, let's describe.
I was about to say, what
tax
is a dad tax, right? So, dad tax is like what the kids have. Like, okay, so I mean, I guess let me ask you this: is your dad tax on everything that the kids have?
Well, it's. I think a simple definition is that dad is entitled to first cut of whatever he determines that it's going to be. The second part of that is when it comes to food, are you testing it if it's poisonous? That's what I always say. Hey, let me do the poisonous check. Yeah. Right. Specifically with like candies and sweets and stuff like that. You got to make sure it's good. That's right. Yeah. So, but I do believe there's a dad tax beyond just food and other things. Like that. So what about you? Are you just strictly food, or does your dad tax extend into other items like video games or?
Mine's mainly food. My kids haven't gotten into video games. So we have one video game. That didn't last very long. I don't think he's played it in a long time. I think as they get older, it'll definitely be, and if we do have some gamers, and especially if we get into sports games, because that's what I like to do growing up. Right now, it's mainly food. So like, if we kids have a bite of pizza or some ice cream or things like that, like I'll take a bite out just to, just to make the kids mad.
Yeah,
that's why I do it.
Gosh, and when Dad taking the dad tax,
exactly.
It's the best. So my dad tax is strictly determined by how hungry I am at that moment.
Okay.
So if it's been a while and Daddy Bear hasn't had anything to eat, and the kids, so again, love my wife. She's always taken out for the kids first, as she should. But if Dad hasn't eaten and she's got breakfast and eggs and those layered Pillsbury biscuits out, and she's serving it, Dad's going around and he's picking up a bite, and and I've got it. At least I'm fair and equitable. So 2 kids.
Okay.
So if I'm taking a bite out of one scoop, I take a bite out of the other.
Yeah.
So it's double whammy.
Yeah.
So at least it's equal distribution right now.
So I think I'm more of the cleanup crew. I'm more of the
So
cleanup
you're
crew.
at the end of the tax.
Yeah. I'm like, if it's left, like I'll never let food go to waste, obviously.
Yeah.
So, if I want a bite, I'll grab a bite, but a majority of my stuff is cleanup duty, like whatever's left. Even if it's a half-eaten chicken nugget, that's not going in the trash. I'm gonna eat it. You know what I mean?
I wonder how our government would work if they took the last cut instead of the first cut.
Probably way better.
Well, depending on what's going to be left. But so again, and we reference it to this, like think about when you get paid, right? So the government's taking theirs, and then you go to actually pay for something, and then there's a sales tax on that. And then if you sell said thing, there's tax. So it is just tax.
We're setting them up for success later in life. Like that's, hey, here's reality, son. Somebody's always going to have their hand out and getting a piece of it. So just get ready.
Yeah, I take a front end tax, but I'm also on a cleanup crew.
Oh, okay. So you double dip.
I double dip. Yeah. Well, and I don't understand why they get so mad about the dad tax up front, because they don't ever finish their food.
I agree with that.
They're initially just angry about it, but then I'm like, well,
you're not going to finish your food.
I get it. and then there lies the problem of, we talk about fitness here and calorie tracking.
Yeah.
Those are conveniently left off the calorie tracking
Absolutely.
app.
Oh, man, I had like 7 chicken nuggets today because I had 5 bites, and then I cleaned up, and it's like, oh, that's another 240 calories that didn't make it into my tracking.
Well, and two, I don't know if you consider this dad tax. I probably do, but we talked about last time what are you feeding the kids?
Yeah.
And the air fryer and whatever you can dip in the air fryer. But I always pour it's like I always pour first, and then you just see the quantity that's in there, and you're like, well, that's probably good enough for them. Add in a little bit more for you. And then, like, you realize that your dad tax is 50% of that. And then you're dividing the 50 between the two of them.
Right,
so
that's right.
It's really like a 75% tax.
Yep, that's right.
I saw an image the other day, and this reminded me of my dad, and I do the same thing, but it was an image and a kid in the car seat, and it was taken from the point of view, like you could see the bag of M&Ms in the kid's lap, and the dad is driving in front, and his dad's got his hand wrapped behind the seat with his hand out.
That's pretty good.
I do that all the time, man.
Yeah.
Like that's the dad tax, and they're like, Dad. But now that the kids know, so let me ask you this: do you offer any tax breaks or incentives? Like, let's say when they get older, or if they do some of their chores with a good attitude, are you then not taxing as much? Or if you've just had a really good meal?
My incentive is to just give them stuff. That's how I do it. If you do this, we'll stop and get ice cream on the way home, and then I still tax them.
Yeah. And ice cream is such a good way to get it.
Oh, absolutely.
Are you like the first lick of the ice cream? Like, do you get a different flavor for each kid, and then you're like, and then hand them back to... Is that where you're at?
So my kids they're kind of vanilla, right? So they just like vanilla. So I'll get maybe a little bite out of one or the other.
Those palates are gonna further be refined. And you're gonna We go to this place that's shut down. It's called Cookie Dough Magic, and it's like cookie dough, various types of cookie dough, and they range from like Cookie Monster, which is this blue Oreo type thing, to cookie dough. I mean, dad tax legit on that. Like,
sorry.
Whoa, way to go there, buddy.
Sorry.
But I'm dad taxing out of that. So let me ask you this: what happens in case of tax evasion? Is there a penalty that you're implementing?
Now, I will say this: we have had to put a one of those little spiral things that go over your knobs for a pantry on it, because our kids were going in and sneaking food. So yes, there's absolutely a penalty if they got their food or snacks or something that we told them not to. Like, my kids are into marshmallows right now, big marshmallows. My daughter has learned where we put them, So the other day I walked in there and I'm like, where's Bennett? She had pulled the dog food container, slid it over behind the door, climbed up, and had grabbed the small marshmallows and gotten them down and was sitting underneath, hidden, eating marshmallows. So, of course, Dad got frustrated, and then he ate a handful of marshmallows. So, yes, absolutely.
You joined the club?
Yeah, I joined the club. My wife came around the corner and found us both hiding, eating marshmallows together.
Well, and we talked about this last time, but like anytime my wife goes to Costco and she buys the big bags of cereal, but she bought the assorted Oreo packs. And I'm not complaining, but there is a penalty because my kids, and sometimes like I'm trying to eat healthy, and the dad tax may be a delayed dad tax.
Yeah.
So it may come later in the week. It's not initially, I don't take it all up front all the time. But these packs, it includes the double stuffed Oreos, which we all know are the best.
Yes.
The original Oreos, and then the vanilla Oreos, which I really like those too. Okay. And by the time the end of the week comes, the kids have destroyed and eaten all of the double stuffed, because they know that that's the good stuff. Mm-hmm. And then they go next to the vanilla. And then you're just left with the ordinary Oreos. And I'm not complaining because that's good.
Yeah.
But to me, that's a form of tax evasion. There should have been several packs of the double stuffed. And because it's just a level of disappointment. As a dad, you go in there and you're like, you're just looking at the scraps. And it's like, man, I'm good for cleaning up a plate, but when you got the gold, I don't want the silver, man.
I agree.
You know what I'm saying? So it's so let me ask you this last question on this. Do you take a end of the year like tax? Like we pay our taxes at the end of the year. Mm-hmm. Are you taking like an end of the year kind of?
If they get a cool Christmas present, absolutely. I'm going to be playing with that thing more than they are.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And part of the tax comes into play from the opening of the gifts.
Oh, yeah.
And we talked about this either. Like you need some serious DeWalt firepower to open up some of these gifts.
Correct. Yeah.
And the level of effort that's required to open that, it is only fair that the dad is. And how this manifests in the reality is, I'll be honest, I'm not a huge video game guy. I was growing up, but I mean, now that there's other things that keep us occupied. But when we got a Nintendo Switch and subscribed to the vintage video game,
I have that too.
Tecmo Bowl got an instant dad tax.
Yeah, absolutely.
Kids so frustrated. They wanted to play all these video games. I'm like, well, let me take you back to
84?
84.
Yeah.
Of course, I was a baby then, so I probably didn't really play Tecmo Bowl.
I played it in the 90s. Like, it was, 90s. Yeah.
But yeah, that's a cool, it's a drone. Dad's got first flight rights.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. Yep. So, anyways, the dad tax, very interesting. I just love how
that was a good question, Mike.
Frustrated. Mike from Michigan. way to keep it strong. All right, so we're going to move on to the next one. Let's see here, and we're going to go into, this is Anonymous Dad from South Carolina, and he wants to know, once we have our first cup of coffee, aka lighting the fuse, how long do you have? And where this comes into play is,
I love that phrase.
You lit the fuse. I saw a funny meme out there, and it's a guy having his first cup of coffee, walks out the front door, and he's like, "Ooh," and he's got to walk back in.
Yeah.
And somebody wrote, well, like, shame on you. You lit the fuse. Yeah. You knew you should plan no activity in that. But sometimes that's not always the case. And where that really comes into play is it's a routine. You get your cup of coffee. Yeah. And if it's your day, or if you do it every day to take the kids to school, sometimes you don't have the ability, or sometimes you're just not, primed, ready to go. For the norm, what is your over under? Do we want to set it at 20 minutes?
Mine is after I stop drinking coffee.
Well, let's just set the average. So as long as you're just
this is my second cup.
Lighting the fuse, you're good.
Yeah. So yes. Yeah. I haven't the fuse isn't burning right now, right? Does that make sense? because this is my second cup.
So once you're complete, then
it's like, so. And I typically have about 2 cups.
Is that normal?
What?
That may be an anomaly.
It may be an anomaly, but if I'm continuing to drink coffee, which I don't throughout the day, depending if I'm really tired, but
you may have more cups today.
Oh yeah. That means I've lit the fuse twice. And so to answer your question, mine's about 30 to 45 minutes.
So the way that you describe that, it's like me and 4th of July fireworks when you get multiple explosives and then you're tying the fuses together.
Yeah, that's kind of what's happening. Yeah.
So are you having more of a productive time? I guess would be the appropriate way to say it, because your fuse is technically lit.
Depends on what my nutrition's been like today, the couple of days prior to, right? But I would say 30 minutes or so. But I will say this: when it's go time, it's go time. There is no, I can hold this off. Like, yeah, no, it's the coffee.
So I'm going to put, if we had to put an over-under on how long do you have, I would say 20 minutes.
Yeah.
You take the over, but you're an anomaly. I would say 20 minutes from the first taste of coffee. And that, to me, that's why that gets the morning started.
So I have a question.
You get the energy, and then you're beginning the start of your day.
So do you have coffee later in the afternoon?
Very rarely.
But when you do, does it relight that fuse?
It really doesn't.
Just in the morning?
And I'm curious. That's a good question. I wonder why. And if you guys, nutritionists or medical or have the data, please inform us of why that is. Though maybe it's because you've stacked on other things that, you're not coming off of a night, a fast.
Yeah.
Right. Maybe that's what it is.
Yeah, that's a good point.
You don't have the fasting sleep that.
Yeah, please do. Hey, anybody that's listening out there, drop the medical reason why a coffee in the afternoon doesn't relight the fuse.
Well, and so I don't. We're getting into borderline tune out territory, but so I was reading that, and I don't know if they were all dads, but they took a very healthy sample size of 1,700 people, and they agreed to have a probe inserted into their colon.
What?
Right, exactly.
1,700 people agreed to this.
I wonder how much they got paid.
I was about to say, what's the compensation?
And it was a study exactly this. It's like, why does coffee make you have the poop in your life? And they came back with all these percentages. With any study, it's always inconclusive.
Yeah,
but
of course.
The percentages definitely said that the cup of coffee got you
going.
It's like a 40% chance that it was going to get.
It's a diuretic.
Get things moving in the morning. So it's So I think you have 20 minutes once you light the fuse. But you brought up another great point: is once the fuse has pretty much wound down, and you know it's go time. What are you setting the over under to? You've got to get to that place, or it's a bad day.
5 minutes.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah, about 5 minutes. There is no,
and that's the maximum.
Oh yeah, I mean I've paused. I've turned my camera off on conference calls before, and returned and turned it back on. That has happened before, because there's no holding out.
Yeah, there is no, and very rarely, there's less than a 0.01% chance that I'm stopping into a gas station restroom.
No, heck no.
But if the fuse is lit, it's happened. It will happen. And so that's why it's careful planning, guys. Planning makes all the difference in the world. Never leave the house if you haven't.
I'll throw this out there. Are you ready? As somebody who used to travel a lot on the road, in a former career, Home Depots, they have clean bathrooms.
That's that a dad hack?
Yeah. Okay. You want to know why?
Why is that?
Because not many people use them.
Well, there you go.
So Home Depots, clean bathrooms. Don't go into fast food joints.
Yeah, don't do that.
Don't go into gas stations unless it's like a truck stop, and even then you're taking your life in your own hands. But like Home Depots are good. Big chain restaurants are good.
Really, Home Depot though, because I gotta imagine.
It's surprising
if you're going there in the morning when all the construction workers are getting there.
They don't have time. You got to think about it. they're in, they're out. They got to get to the job site.
But I would also think that would be perfect fuse lighting time.
I'm just telling you, I've never been into Home Depot bathroom that wasn't clean.
Interesting.
Dad hack.
So not only are you napping in the Home Depot parking lot, you're using.
Man, I'm going to put a cot there. Just get ready. Sleeping in the back of my truck.
Oh man,
that's funny.
Yeah. So it's a very, very critical element. I think it's a lot of what we do as dads. It's. Yeah, for me,
part of being a dad.
It's part of getting up in the morning.
That's right.
Part of the morning routine. So, very interesting question.
Yes, sir. Thanks, Anonymous from South Carolina.
Anonymous for South Carolina. So this one we didn't have a question on, but I wanted to talk about it because it's just kind of something that I did. So moving on to our next topic, the need for the dad cave. Some may call it the man cave or the mantuary or the men den. Whatever you call it. Do you have one, Blair?
Not yet. Well, actually, hold on. So we've been in our house for about a year. So, and I have a place where like my stuff is going to go, but it's also the kids' room at the same time. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, you're never going to claim back that room.
Yeah. So
you got to start looking into other areas of your house. Have you scoped out other prospective?
Well, yeah. Then I had another kid, so now, and then we have to have a guest room, for the grandparents and all that. So the way my house is set up right now, like I mean, you've been over, like we have the room, but the wife has staked her claim to all of it.
She's nested it.
Yeah.
Well, this is getting into exactly the reason we're having this conversation. Yeah. So. I believe a dad cave, for most dads, it's going to have to be in a unique space that's probably at this point may not even be a room, may not even be like the garage is a very common because the wives, they want nothing to do with the garage or the attic.
Yeah.
It's not ideal, but you can build out an attic, you can put a window unit in it. You can make things work.
You can make things work. I agree with that.
An extended closet.
Yeah.
There's different things, but we got to get you on that.
Yeah.
We've got to get you in the space.
I'll say this though. I will say this. So you come over and watch the football game or two. I like my outdoor setup.
That's good.
Yeah, so that's kind of my sanctuary because the kids, if they do come out, they're running around, they're not bothering me. Does it have like the decoration and things like that? No, but it's got my loudspeaker system. It's got a TV that swivels, and we got pretty comfortable outdoor furniture. So I would say that's my area as it stands today.
I'm going to disagree with you on that because I feel like as part of a man, the outdoor is also your space, and so you got the lawn, and then every guy's got to have his back porch.
All right.
So that is, but it's not the dad cave. It's not the man cave. So
mine will be in the garage.
I am ultimately committed, and I say this today, committed to helping you get your dad cave. I'm in.
I like it.
We will plan that bad boy.
Well, you did your garage really well, man. Oh, because this brings up a great point. Are you ready for this one? And we talked about this the other day.
Let's go.
When you start it, and you stake your claim, how quickly do you get kicked out and it's taken over by?
Well, yeah, that's the...
is that the next question that I steal your thunder? Sorry.
No, you didn't steal my thunder, but it's a good leadway in there. So we've had, in our house is pretty unique. It's got 2 living rooms, and like we call it the blue couch room and the white couch room. And the white couch room was a room that I envisioned we're going to have all of our company over. We've got a big TV in there.
Yeah.
That's going to be the football.
We watched a couple games in there. Yeah.
Movie room.
Yep.
And well, now the kids have completely taken over that room. And that couch has got food stains, among other stains in there. There's scratches on the TV. The TV, I think, we've only had it for 3 years, and I think it's about to reach the end of its lifespan.
Yeah.
So they've taken over that room. Okay. So now my wife, she's into all these drama series. And what I mean by that, like dating drama series. Yeah. And so she's taken over the blue couch room. Well, we have a unique garage that's kind of got a loft up top, which was basically used for storage. And then you have the garage space down below. Well, initially I was like, I'm going to make the bat cave.
Yep.
And I made a nice play area for the kids, put a TV in there, put all their toys in there. I was like, we'll just keep the mess contained in there. In an effort to get them to move back, I put nice, cool lights in there. And that worked for a couple of months. And then they made it back to the big TV room. And so I was like, well, I'm just going to hang out here in the bat cave. Well, that didn't work out too well, and they didn't like that. So I went down underneath in the garage area, and that's where I have my gym. But there's all this kind of wasted area. And again, I love wives, but dads, I know you can agree with me on this. Those spaces are areas that your wife is going to try to take back over. And what I mean by that is they look at it as kind of like collect-alls. The garage. Anything they want to pull out of their car, they're just pushing it there in the garage.
Agreed.
So you have to defend your territory. So in this one, I've kind of got the gym down there, and now I've had all this like collect-all space, which I cleaned up, and I laid in some nice artificial grass.
Yeah.
So it looks kind of like a football.
Yeah.
We had TVs laying around, and I know that sounds very kind of like
first world issues,
but you dads know what I'm talking about. You have these old TVs.
I have 3 of them.
Right, and they just sit in the closet, and they're just collecting dust. So here is a dad hack. If you don't want to deal with a TV mount, and pretty reasonable TV, I'd say under 32 inches. Yeah. It can't be like an old school TV that weighs 500 pounds. But get, and I can't emphasize this enough, 100 to 150 pound test zip ties. And on the back of the TV, there's these vents, and they're pretty durable. And you can thread the zip ties through the vents and then kind of link them together and hang it on. And don't just put it in drywall, put it in a stud. And then you can hang it. So that's what I've done. I've got 2 TVs side by side. Kind of looks like my own sports bar. And then just they're hung with zip ties. I know that sounds pretty ghetto. It's not. It actually looks pretty.
It does look good.
But then you got LED lights in there. And so that's my man cave. We've got 2 recliners in there that are a little bit old, but they're nice. They're old school leather.
Well, that's the way a man cave should be.
It is.
So question.
But then to before you get back to that, we built all that out within last week, and now the kids live down there.
That was my next question. Did the kids take it over?
They did take it over. Yeah. I was talking to my brother-in-law about that, and he said something to me. He sent me a text. He's like, in quote, I used to have a beer fridge. I used to have a man cave and a Netflix account or Netflix access.
Right.
But now he's been booted out of Netflix because the kids have taken over his Netflix account.
Netflix.
So it's good. But here's why I think beyond just men need a dad cave for kind of their own sanctuary, their own getaway. Yeah. But I always love how my kids are watching what we do or watching what you do as a father. And I love that they try to take it over. And I joke about it, but I actually love that they try to get in there because they really appreciate the new space and what you did. Yeah. But they're trying to be like dad. Yeah. And so that's why I'm like, that's cool that you want to be like that. Right. I'm probably not as cool with it when, it's Saturday and I want to watch a football game and they want to watch their own, something on YouTube.
Yeah. I agree with that. It's, but I think it's also kudos to you on this is they want to be with you.
Right.
I think that's the fun part about it is, even when we're outside, like, we were watching football and I think, Alabama had a late game, the other night and I was sitting outside because it's beautiful weather right now, not too hot, watching the game. And then here come the kids and they just want to sit out there with me and cuddle up. And I'm like,
can't beat this.
Yeah, I can't beat it, man. It's outside. I get to watch my game. They're half asleep because it's late and okay, I can get behind this.
Yeah, it's when I go away for travel, it's always funny that, and my kids would never admit this, but my wife is a testament to this. It's almost like my 2 boys try to fulfill dad not being in there in the house. So the things that dad does, like they try to do.
Right.
And just silly things. Like I have a ice pod, like ice cold plunge bath, and they'll, of course it's heated up and it's not cold anymore, but they'll get in the ice bath and be like, look at me, I'm taking an ice bath. And that's pretty funny. Or they'll sit and hang out and spend all their time in the dad cave. But I really love that because that melts my heart that the kids want to be like that and spend time in the spaces that dad wants to do. And it's just funny because they never admit it.
No.
Like, hey, son, do you want to be like Dad? No, Dad's gross. Dad's yucky. Dad's, but you know that they do.
Right. Yeah.
So that's very good.
Good stuff, man.
Yeah. So when are we building out we need to draw blueprints. We need to start buying all the LED lights on Amazon. Yep. We need to go find your old 3 TVs and hang them up with zip ties.
I know right where they are. I know right where they are.
We'll drive by. Yeah. We'll do the Monday curbside rollout where people set out their nasty cushions and chairs. We'll go sanitize it, put it in the back, and
I would say 6 months. Let's give us 6 months to build it out because I got to get the garage cleaned out stuff too.
Yeah, that's the big part of it. Making the.
I mean, we've been in our house for a year and still not even close. It takes
time.
It takes time to settle in.
Yeah, it takes time. I would say that when we bought this house, I could see and envision the future dad caves,
right?
Which was probably one of the primary reasons that.
And they've moved,
and so now it's. I'm probably going to get kicked out of that one. Yeah. So, well, good conversation.
Yeah, man.
Good conversation.
Yes, sir.
We would love to see if you have a spectacular dad cave, man cave, or where you spend your time, or if there's any funny stories that you have. So drop it in the comments or. Post a picture in the comments as well. We'd love to see that. But again, we appreciate you tuning in, listening to us ramble, and appreciate your questions. Those are really good questions. And
don't forget to hit that subscribe button.
Subscribe, please. Subscribe, like, notify, whatever all the jazz is these days. But we appreciate all your support. So until next time, we're out.
Let's get out.
See ya.